before we get started, I am going to introduce myself to you. My name is Lyka Sarmiento, or you just can call me Teacher Lyka. So for today, we are going to tackle about a certain topic that everyone thinks they know about, but almost everyone gets mixed up. So are you ready to know what our topic for today is? So our topic for today is about heat and temperature. Now, don't you worry. We are not going to talk about confusing science formulas or those invisible things today. We are just going to tackle about how it feels in real world. So, are you ready to explore our topics? And if you are ready, let's get started. So, first things first, we are going to tackle about temperature. I will give you some few examples for you to understand what temperature really is. For example, when you feel your forehead to see if you have a fever, or when you are scrolling through your phone to check the weather app to see if it's sunny today, you were checking the intensity of the hotness. We are going to think of temperature like a speedometer on a motorcycle. So, like the speedometer, it tells you exactly how fast or how intense the hotness is at that very moment. And we are also going to think that it doesn't matter if you're looking at the small pot of boiling water or you're looking at the giant pot of hot water. If they feel equally hot to your touch, they have the same temperature. It's because it's just a measurement. We use degrees Celsius to tell us exactly how or where the hotness level is on the scale. So, because I have already explained to you what temperature is, we are going to proceed to our next topic. And now, here is where it gets different. So, we have already learned what heat is and have mentioned some few examples to understand it better. But right now, we are going to discuss a different topic. And you're right, we are going to discuss about heat. So, for the overview, I want to differentiate what temperature and heat so you have the idea. So, if the temperature is on the level, the heat will be the amount. Now, are you ready to learn about heat? If yes, let's go. And for that, I want you to use your vivid imagination because I am going to ask you to think about this certain situation so that we can understand heat much better. We're going to think about this. I will imagine that I have a tiny candle flame and one big bonfire. So, if I put my hand near that candle flame, what do you think would I feel? Yes, I would feel very hot, right? That's because my hand can feel the high temperature near that one tiny candle flame. But here is the question. Do you think that tiny candle flame can warm up my entire living room? That's not possible. That is because there is not enough heat on the candle flame that can warm up my entire living room, right? But if we talk about the bonfire, of course, that's a different story. It is because the bonfire has enough heat to warm up the whole area. So do you understand now the comparison of the two? Heat is the actual energy that moves around, and heat always depends on how much something do you have. And before we proceed to our next topic, I will give you one more example so that you can understand heat much better. So are you ready? So for our one more example, do you know that a bucket of warm water has actually more heat compared to a small cup of boiling water. It is amazing, right? And it's simply because there is more of it to go around. Speaking of more, I mean heat. And by that, the comparison of temperature versus heat will be like this. If the temperature is how hot an object feels or how hot it feels, the heat is how much energy is actually there. And now, I think you are ready to proceed to our next topic. And now, let us proceed to our next topic, which will be the direction of the flow. I want you now to listen carefully because this is a very vital piece of information. I am going to tell you one secret which will eventually level up your game on this science class. So are you now ready to hear that secret? If yes, listen very carefully. There is only one golden rule about heat, and that one golden rule is heat only moves from one direction. And do you know that one direction is? That heat always moves from hot to cold. And now, I want you to use your vivid imagination because I will give you one certain situation that will help us understand the direction of the flow much better. So, are you ready now to imagine? If yes, let us begin. Let us imagine holding a cup of soda that is very, very cold. And because we are holding a cup of soda that is very, very cold, our hand starts to feel cold, right? Actually, it is not the coldness that enters our hand, but it is the warmth of our hand that is giving away heat on the soda can. Do you know why? It is because heat is always a giver. It always moves toward whatever is colder until they both match. Do you now understand how the direction of the flow works? Because if yes, we are now going to proceed to our conclusion. And now, I think you are ready for a recap. So, to wrap things up, I will be explaining to you in simpler terms our topics for today, which is the temperature, the heat, and the direction of the flow. So, to begin with, let us proceed to the explanation of the temperature. So, I've already mentioned the temperature is the hottest level, and the temperature is like a speedometer. And now, let us explain what heat is. Heat is the total energy, and it depends on how much stuff you have. And for the direction of the flow, it is always begins from hot side to cold side. See, it's not as complicated as it sounds. If you can remember these three things, I think you're already ahead of the game. Thank you so much for watching my vlog today. I hope I've helped you understand the difference between heat and temperature. This is your teacher Lyka, and a little reminder, don't forget to stay curious. Thank you, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye!